Hi, my name is Eddie Tomlinson. I am the Director of Facility Services at the Heritage at Brentwood. And so this is our camera system for the Heritage at Brentwood. This is a recordable camera system. We have four cameras that are fixed cameras, which means they do not move, and we have two pan, tilt, and zooms. Those are called PTZs. One of these that we have that is a PTZ is located at the front of the Magnolia building in the clubhouse area. And as you can see, we can pretty much scan anywhere on the property that we can gain access with a view from that area. If we want to zoom in on something, we have an option on here as well where we can highlight that area and it will zoom in. Now this is Winfield, which is way up the street there, but what this camera is shooting now is what it actually records. So we always have to make sure that it's in an area to where we can always get as much footage as possible with it. This camera system will do recordings up to 90 days, and at the end of those 90 days, day 1 will fall off, and then day 91 will record, and so forth, like day 92, and day 2 falls off. So you can see pretty good with this camera. Like I said, it has to be set at where we want it to record, but I can pretty much get just about anything with it. Now our other cameras, which are the fixed cameras, we usually keep this camera in this area here. The other cameras we have are these fixed cameras. Now, for example, these are on motion sensor. If that car is driving through that camera, it's going to pick it up and it's going to record that motion. So, for example, if we get a storm or we get high winds coming through, we usually have a fountain grass that is here. This is the exit of the community. This is the entrance of the community. So we have a camera coming and going to catch license plates and so forth like that. This camera system comes with an option where we can box out that grass. So as it sways, it's not continually recording the grass moving. It's only recording the cars going through the system. So we can go in and box out that grass, or I can box out this tree, and when those move, it will not trip the motion sensor that is on there. And so then it will record it, thus for saving us memory on that. And that's pretty much it. We have 6 cameras total. This camera system is intended for 16 cameras. So eventually we will have cameras pretty much everywhere on the property. And but we have the main entrance to Summerfield, the clubhouse. We have 4 cameras on the rear employee entrance, which this is a pan, tilt, and zoom, and these 4 here are fixed. 3 of these 4 are on the back end, are here. 2 of these are on the back entrance, and one's in the hallway, and the other is the employee break room. And that's pretty much it.
And then you said you had this taped for how many days?
It records for 90 days. At day 91, day 1 will fall off. Day 92 recording, day 2 will fall off. And so it eventually, it keeps it all there. And so, for example, you may think, well, this is recorded for 90 days. It's recorded probably for 4 or 5 months, or maybe 6. Depends on how much motion is run across that camera. So you know people's coming and going out of the clubhouse, so that camera is going to turn over 90 days quicker than, say, this camera in the break room or that one over there. So the time will change on those.
Okay, great.
This is my favorite one here.
Isn't memory in that black box?
It is. This is the.
I want to explain what that there's a box that's keeping.
Yeah, this is the system that holds all of the memory. It's just a computer. It has the software program in it where it will hold all that memory in there, and then has a backup battery to it and so forth like that. This is what they call the Metasys system. This Metasys system controls almost every facet of the heating and cooling system in the community. For example, I have several options on here. One of the options are I can monitor the chilled water system, I can monitor the cooling towers, I can monitor the hot water system. I have air handlers that are 3 main air handlers to the commons area, which is the clubhouse, dining room, so forth like that. And then I have control of those VAV boxes there. We have, the nursing center, and then A and B wing. So this system controls all the heating and air, chilled water system. So this is downstairs. We have 2 chillers, and so this tells us our supply of chilled water coming in. This tells us the temperature of water going in, the temperature of water going out. It tells us what pumps are on, what percentage of the pump speed is actually on. When you have days to where you have a mild day, say 50 degrees outside, you may use a little of the outside air versus what's inside, so you won't use a lot. And so this kind of tells us what we're using, and it gives us a history of that too, so we can also budget it in the trying to figure out what we're going to use in electricity, what we're going to use in water, and so forth for the following year. These are our cooling towers. So right now it's telling me I have 1 chiller on, I only have 1 pump on, and so I have 1 tower on. So it's able to maintain with the temperature that's outside to maintain the building temperature that we have all the presets at. This is our hot water system. So we supply hot water to both A, B building and the clubhouse area. That does the laundry, that does the dishes in the kitchen, and then all the residence places as well. So what we do is we kind of figure out, according to the water temperature coming in from our supply from the city, most of the time it's the temperature that's kind of outside. It's, if it's 20 below zero outside, the water's going to be really cold. So we may have to come in here and adjust these hot water these boilers to make that adjustment in that water, because what's going into the boiler is probably 20-degree water, and it has to heat it up to 145 before it goes off into the holding tanks. And so sometimes we have to watch that and monitor that to make sure that that's what's being done, that the boilers are able to maintain. The way these boilers work is it calls for hot water. So we have a sensor that tells the boiler, I need hot water. So we have 5 holding tanks downstairs, and those holding tanks hold that water and maintain it at 148 or 150 degrees. Holding that temperature at that, these boilers will feed those holding tanks. Those holding tanks, or the boilers will feed the holding tanks. The boiler, if it needs help, it will call on number 2 to come in and help it. And so then we will have 2 boilers running. If it needs more help still, it will ask for number 3 to kick in. And so what will happen is, if 1, 2, and 3 are working, and it's maintaining that water temperature, and we're not using a lot of the supply that we have, then 1 will say, I'm tired, I'm ready to rest. Number 7 will kick in. And then number 2 will get tired, number 6 will kick in. And it's that full cycle all day long, every day. So everybody takes their turn. Everybody takes their turn. All right, so this is one of the air handlers that we have. This one here was air handler number 3. So what this does is this is what we call an outside damper. This is just a diagram kind of, so when somebody's in here working on it, they kind of know what how the system's working. So what we have here is we have return air temps, and then we have mixed air damper. So what happens is, what we try to do is keep fresh air in the building. And so depending on the temperature outside depends on the width or the amount of the damper that is opened. So for example, this damper is open at 10% right now to maintain the temperature that we have right now, the discharge air temp of 53 degrees. Okay? So that's what this thing is trying to blow out, because the building evidently is hot today. Must have a lot of heat in the building. So now this unit knows that it's in air conditioning mode. So now that's why it's blowing cool air. Here you will see the three boxes that we have. We have a heating coil, cooling coil, and a reheat coil. And you have a fan in between. So what's happening is it's calling for cool air. The mixed air temp coming in is 74 degrees. That's counting the air in the building and the air from outside. You put those two temperatures together, that gives you the mixed air temp. Here it's got a preheat of 32%. I'm sorry. So that means that heater right there is like a dehumidifier. So what happens is the system is telling itself that air has so much moisture in it, we need to dry it a little bit first. That's why that heater is on, to dry down that humidity. Then you have the cooling, it's at 100%. So what air has been preheated there, dried out, and now it's getting cooled back down again. And then over here, if it needed to be warmed up, that would be on and this cooling would be off. So now it's running cool air through there, and so the fan is running. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I know that works.
Eddie, what do you call this unit? Do you have a name for this?
It's an air handler. So we have three big ones in the
Air
car.
handler
Yeah.
control.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically the building facilities and not our individual rooms.
No, it is not. These air handlers here are not. Now, when you go back and you have the chilled water, cooling towers, and the hot water system, that is your system. But the system has to be one of two. It either has to be calling for heat or it has to be calling for air conditioning. We are not at that point to where we can allow somebody to have both at both times of the year. And that's why it's so important when the summer is here, humidity is unbelievable in Tennessee. You're looking sometimes the humidity's 50-60%. You can go out here and walk on it. It's so thick sometimes. But residents will have their air conditioning on in their homes. They will have the door and the windows wide open. That's a rainstorm waiting to happen right there is what that is. I mean, it's humidity unbelievably bad. And it causes the vents to leak, it streaks down the walls, it tears the walls, the pan that you have in your apartments, that's a pan to catch humidity. And I've seen it to where it's dripping down so fast that the tube can't even keep up with how much is dripping out of it. Well, we've even some places we've even put alarms on in the pans. So when the pan gets so high, because residents do it so much, and we've asked them so many times, please don't do that. But then they turn around, we have to go in and paint their wall because their wall has sweated. I mean, it's just like taking a hot shower. You know how a shower is. You shut the bathroom door, turn that shower on 125 degrees or 120, and you open it. It's like a steam room. It's a sauna. It's the same thing with air conditioning and humidity outside. Because the air conditioning unit, it's going to give you cold air regardless. But if you mix that with hot humidity air outside, it tears the building up. Air handlers there's one for A building, one for B building. This does your apartments. Let's go in here and look at yours in Dogwood building. So this is the one in your building. So right now it's calling for 10% cooling, no reheat, 74.2 degrees, which that's my goal. My goal is to keep this entire place at 74 degrees all the time. That's where the residents like it. They like 74 degrees. Damper's open, and it's running fine. It's perfect. I have the set point set at 76, so damper set point's at 74%. Zone, it's at 75, so it's happy. It's not doing anything. So its mixture of air is going really well over there.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, so when you have somebody at dinner, they're trying to spin that thermostat in the dining room, they're just spinning it. They're not doing anything with it. It's there for looks.
I think we missed that comment. You got that comment.
Leave it to the pros, right?
Yeah. No, but if we don't do that, it would be so backwards. It would be terrible. But I can allow access by those thermostats. But if we do, then I mean, you can imagine we have hundreds of people that live here, and if we don't have some type of control over it, you know, it's going to be bad.